So tactical step number one for whenever you get a new portfolio to clean up is you've got to get the lay of the land. Okay, what that means is you need all of the information. Over the years, I've tried to do cleanup in a vacuum where I'm only cleaning up 1 year of a 4-year project or 1 year of something or one aspect of it. And the truth is what I found is that portfolios are just too complicated. Individual grants are too complicated. The way our systems are set up in many organizations are just too complicated to be able to clean up an individual year in a vacuum, or in some cases, an individual grant in a vacuum outside of an investigator's full portfolio, right? So in some cases, you might get a single grant that is distinct on its own with 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, whatever that needs to be cleaned up. And you clean that up, and it's easy to do on its own because it's not interconnected with a lot of other things. The bigger a portfolio gets, the more complicated a portfolio gets, the bigger a lab or a research enterprise an investigator has, the more likely it is that you're going to need to have a bigger picture view of what they do to be able to get an understanding of how to clean it up. The other thing that I always gather is all of the documentation. So we're looking at amendments, agreements, NOAAs for the pre-award, and then for the post-award, I typically get all of the spreadsheets, reconciliations, hiring. Basically, I want to be able to tell an entire story of what happened, right? Because essentially that's what we're doing when we do cleanup, is we are basically taking, it's almost as if like a lot of things have happened, and someone needs to create a narrative around, once upon a time, this grant was funded, and then these things happened, right? Once you know the lay of the land, it's actually more important for you to understand the lay of the land before diving in and trying to fix it. So over the years, I've coached a lot of research administrators, new and seasoned, who, when they find a mess, they want to clean it up as soon as possible. And a lot of that comes from the place of where we're uncomfortable because there's a mess. We clean it. Either we have to clean it up because we made it, or someone else has made it and we have to clean it up because it's been assigned to us, or it's been assigned to us for whatever reason, and there's so much work otherwise that we want to get it done very quickly, right? And so I have definitely had grants given to me where I had so much going on that I tried to resolve it by simply cleaning up 1 year or one aspect of it. And every single time, what's interesting is that there was a certain period after which I'd been doing it enough to where when I would start doing that, I would hear the voice in my head that would say, don't do this. You're going to need to go back and clean this up and do it, the detail dive anyway. So either you're going to do this work twice or you're just going to listen to me now. And in the beginning, I would just, no, it's fine. And I'd try to do it with just the 1 year or just the one segment or do it in a vacuum. And it didn't take long before I realized that that's not how this is going to fly. I'm going to actually have to get more information. Sometimes that information may not be available and you may have to be digging for it. And that explains a great deal about how a grant got into a mess, especially if, and this is something that I'm finding happening more and more, is that because we're seeing so much turnover, we're seeing a lot of new people come in portfolios. And by new people, I don't mean like RAs who are new to the portfolio. I mean new to research administration, who are trying to learn on the same portfolio that they're trying to learn how to be research administrators on, while at the same time trying to clean something up. And that's just a lot to put on somebody. And that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, which is that it's nice for somebody to come into a portfolio that someone else has already cleaned up and give it to them in like a really good shape and say, okay, let me explain to you the story of this person's research business enterprise, what they spend their money on, so that now this person is walking in almost having seen, all the prequels. If someone's able to say, okay, sit down, I'm going to just put it all down in a Cliff's Notes for you and just tell you the story and then give you all the things that you can figure out so you can move forward and then catch up as you go, it's very empowering. However, if you are somebody who's been put in that kind of portfolio, there's something very exciting about being the person, whether you are new or seasoned as an RA, who actually does this part of it, right? Because if you think about it, at the same time, the work itself that is very anxiety provoking because you're cleaning up a mess, right, is also the same thing that's going to get you so much confidence. Because first of all, when you're done, you'll be like, wow, I cleaned that up. But second is nobody will know that project like you. And the things that you learn while you're cleaning up about department, about your organizational processes, about things that could be fixed or improved. Like, it actually creates a great deal of empowerment and a lot of stickiness within your position, to where now you start to become that person that you think about, saying, man, that person knew all those things about that portfolio. Well, that's you now, right? You know that. So that's why cleanups are actually really fun, because no one knows a portfolio like someone who has cleaned it up. And so when you are given one of these, and I'll leave you with the tactical step is to take the lay of the land, gather all the information, and since you're now coming at it from that perspective that we talked about in the first video about not judging yourself through it, right, or anybody else for that matter, there's a lot less pressure in terms of trying to prove that you're not a bad RA, right? Because that's not what it is. But again, that the story that we tell ourselves is the story. Everybody has their own story, whatever yours is. And then 2 is getting the lay of the land, so that you basically have everything in front of you. And it's almost like if you were cleaning out your kitchen or cleaning out your garage or cleaning out something, trying to like reorganize it. You take everything out and like put it out on the yard or put it out on the dining table, and instead of just put everything out just so you can get an idea of, okay, what is it that I'm working with, right? You clean out your cabinets, you dust it out, and then you start to put everything back in. And then, you realize that you don't need a lot of the stuff. Some of the stuff you can throw away. That's exactly what we're doing with the portfolio or with the grant or whatever it is that you're cleaning up. Is you're basically taking everything out, you're putting it on the dining table, you're putting it on the yard, and you're laying it out so you can basically see everything, right? And that's what you really get, is the ability to see it.